Hello everyone, this is Enzo Eigen in the Alliance for Loki, and now we have the science tier list. And so I just did my first tier list earlier today, made a video. Actually had a lot of fun. Didn't think I'd have as much fun as I would making it, but it's really cool to think about just how all the characters rank together. And I know it's been done before and everyone, is more or less giving the same results, but I just found it a cool exercise for myself to go through. I mean, I certainly realize that all these champions are very situational. Like, you could have a fight where like Stark Spider-Man's absolutely the best, like Thing in the Abyss, or of course then Nick Fury could be really the best champion for it. Or if you're in war and you need a great defender, you could have Korg. And so yeah, of course, this game is one of the beauties of it is that it is complex and there's a lot of different situations you're in and a lot of different characters with different abilities, and so it ends up, of course, there's never one right answer. But the more I think about it, the more I think that it's also a little bit about what character covers like the most situations, or what's really good for really specific difficult situations. And so with that in mind, yeah, I think it's just again an interesting exercise, and I like doing it. So over here on the left side we have these are my little icons. So if someone has good utility, so let's just grab someone like Crossbones real quick. Let's say they have really good utility. I'll put the U next to their name. Basically at the top position for amazing utility, middle for good, like pretty useful, and bottom for good, fair, has some utility value. And then A is attack, that's for strong, medium, and good attack and fair attack. P is prestige, and D is as a defender. And so those are sort of the criteria I'm basing each of these characters on. So with that in mind, let's get going and let's take a look at the top choices. So at the very top, well, Nick Fury I think has to be up where he is on the top of the list. Incredible utility, and so his utility is a bunch of different methods. So one, he is really good at giving synergies. He has the second life. He becomes unblockable. He can become unstunnable. He has amazing bleed. He can, once he gets enough of those tactical charges, he's immune to evade. So all sorts of amazing things. His attack is really strong. I wouldn't quite put it at the top of the attack. I'm going to put it at the middle level. I mean, really powerful. Does a lot of damage with his bleeds. Against bleed immune, he's not quite as good, but his prestige I'll also go put in the middle. It's high, not at the top, but definitely in the upper 25%. Defender, he's a reasonable defender. I don't know, I'm almost debating putting defender in the middle, but I'm gonna put it here at sort of just a good defender. Nothing too incredible. And so I guess I should also explain, this is sort of a working video. I just sort of go through and actually do the tier. I haven't really pre-thought about this too much, and I'm just going to sort of make it as I go. Next, I would say, of course, Aegon is, I think most people would say he's one of the best. Interesting, he gives a lot of good utility because, he can shrug off evades and stuns, and not evades and buffs when he gets high enough combos, so that's really cool. His prestige is sort of like Nick Fury. It's sort of like, pretty good, but not incredible. Almost consider lowering them down to the next step. Not a good defender at all. Attack though, we're talking like one of the best attacks in the game. Of course, it takes some time to get him to that level. You have to really build him up. So that's one interesting thing about him. But once you build him up, he's incredible. Blade, everyone has sort of forgotten about Blade. I still use an Alliance Quest. Think he's awesome. Amazing utility. I mean, with the regen alone, becomes so sustainable. I think that's is huge. His attack is pretty powerful too, of course, with his bleeds, and just does a lot of damage. Also, the utility, being able to get the danger sense against villains and mystics is huge. Defender, not really defender at all. Prestige, his prestige isn't bad. I mean, it's definitely reasonable. So it's worth. I'd say worth putting at the lowest rank prestige. Trying to think anyone else in this that I would include. I sort of want to include Night Monkey, just because I think Night Monkey has really high utility. Just because of the slow and the way that mechanic works. His attack is very reasonable, and his prestige is very good too as well. And so actually his prestige is very good. He's okay as a defender. I mean, like all the spider people, he can have that evade, which always makes him really annoying to fight. And so I think that's where this tier list is going to be. So this is the top tier, and so these are all the characters I think are really valuable as skill. So now the second tier starts to get interesting. Let me just look through the list and start seeing if I can pick out some second tier characters. I'm going to say Crossbones. Let me just move things around. This is just again Brainstorm. I'm going to say Night Thrasher. I'm going to say Cord. Maybe even OG Daredevil I'd put here. Gwenpool I'd put here. Maybe the original Black Widow. Killmonger. Elsa. Is there anyone else I'd have here? Let's see, maybe some other person would jump out. I might even go put a Taskmaster in here, to be honest. I think he's worth it. Mass X-Ray, potentially Thor Rag. I think Thor Rag is going to make it in based on prestige alone. I sort of want to put Mass X-Ray. So I don't know if I've made this too big, this second tier. Places that, just gonna be used in a lot of places. So let's talk about each of these characters. Maybe I won't, since I have so many. I don't know if I'll be able to do the icons. I guess I could put the icons right on them. So Thor Rag, we're talking prestige, like huge prestige. So we'll give him the little P for prestige there. Put it right at the top. Attack, utility, defender, really doesn't get any of those. Crossbones has pretty cool utility. This is a way he can shut things off with his concussions. As a control character right now, as a good defender, that might not be true anymore after the global node flow disappears. Crossbone, really good utility. Doesn't crit, and so again, like in war, he's pretty valuable. I'd probably give it middle level. Gets a lot of furies. He also can shut down defensive ability accuracy based on his furies. Night Thrasher has one of the coolest utility in the game. I mean, he right off the bat can ignore evades and auto blocks, which is incredible, just by doing 2 mediums with his skateboard attack. So I think that makes him really amazing. Some also interesting abilities with his specials, Incinerate Immune. So I definitely think he's there. Korg is a great defender. I'm gonna go put him at the top, one of the top defenders in the game right now. I mean, I know a lot of people can play around him, but he still gets his kills. I mean, I place him out on defense, and he gets a reasonable number of kills each season. So I think he's a good defender. His prestige is okay. I'd probably give him sort of the lowest level of prestige. Daredevil has really cool utility. Again, it was one of these really unique champions. Before Tigra came along, there's no one else who could sort of make projectiles automatically evade, miss. And so he has that at SIG 200 or SIG 99. And so for like the collector fight in Act 4, I used him because he could actually evade those unstoppable, not unstoppable, but the projectiles are too hard to manually dex, but he could do it. Gwenpool, I think, gives amazing utility because she can, again, she, like many of these characters, can reduce defensive ability accuracy based on her combo. I think she has really good attack too with her bleeds. Also has good utility off her different specials that she can use, and sort of the effects that they create. Black Widow is like reasonable utility. Again, she is good with defensive ability accuracy. That's what we see in a lot of these characters in skill, and that's probably all for her. Killmonger, really good defender. Still, I'd say one of the better defenders in the game. Actually, I'll put him up here at the top. Strong defender. Trying to think. Reasonable attack, reasonable utility. I might put his attack a little lower, but I'll put his utility in the middle because, again, he gets unstoppable off his SP1. He has the indestructible, so he can tank SP3 off his SP2. Has good bleeds, can get true strike, and so lots of things that he has. Also, sort of an interesting champion. I'm gonna run out of utility counters. She gets good utility because she has like that bleed, not the bleed. She can, when she goes to do a perfect block a parry, she can then evade it and counterattack, which is really cool. Defensively, she's really good because she has, if they come in with someone who isn't a mutant, she can put a pretty powerful degen on if she's running suicides. I'm not too sure about her prestige. Her attack seems pretty good to me. I would say, like, again, I put it sort of at the lowest level of good attack, reasonable attack, and that makes her good. I mean, I've just heard she's good for Legends runs, that she can do those really well. So that's really interesting. So the next group of tier is sort of like ones that are playable and useful, but just not as frequent. So I'd put in Massacre, Kingpin, probably as a defender, Black Widow, Deadly Origins. Trying to think, Hawkeye I'd put in this group here. Oh, I sort of want to put Ronin in. I'm going to put Hitmonkey. I haven't played around with him enough, but I'm going to put him in there for now. Squirrel Girl. Yeah, it's sort of hard to decide about her. Elektra. I think Elektra. Yeah, boy, it's really tough. It's really tough with this group. I actually might just keep this group. I'd say Ronin too. Anyone else I want in this group? No, I think this is about it. Sort of debating back and forth with Squirrel Girl. Let's go ahead and put Squirrel Girl in here. Okay, so this group is sort of, again, as I said, like, they have their use and you'll want to play with them, but it's sort of less frequent. So Massacre, I think, I just has some interesting pieces of utility. The way he can hit into blocks real hard, the way he can sort of punish blocks with his SP2. I think he's a good character. Of course, he synergizes well with Domino, which is probably where he's used the most, but he's still sort of a fun character. Now I'm sort of maybe thinking he should go in the lower tier, but we won't move him down there yet. Kingpin's a reasonable defender. I think he can, he can do a lot of, he can be stun immune and shrug things off, and it's just good to place. And so there's definitely nodes. I think he would make it here just for his defensive ability. Black Widow, I find her attack amazing. I think she has an incredibly strong attack. I think she's going to get a little bit of utility. Let me make a couple more use utility here. She's running out. She can have reasonable utility because she puts so much shock damage on. Some of her other features would be good, but they're a little hard to use. So I'd say her utility is mostly because of her shock damage. Hawkeye, he gets okay utility, puts on bleed and puts on a power drain. Hitmonkey, he also has a really good attack. I would say I'd probably put him up here with a high attack. Seems like he does a lot of damage, gets those crits. Seems like he might have some utility. I actually need to play with him more, but more is just an attacking champion. I'll put him down. He does have really good prestige. I think he's like one of the highest skill prestige champions, so I think that'll get him onto this list. Ronin, just like the way Ronin can shrug off debuffs and also do a lot of bleeds, get those cruelties up. I think there's some good use for him. And Squirrel Girl, again, I put her sort of at low utility because I think if you're in content where you need to have a high combo, say prove yourself, like she's starting at 40 combo, automatically gets around that node, and I don't think many people use her for that, but I think it's a pretty interesting thing that could be useful, so I put her there. And so now we get to the bottom, and so the bottom is just all the characters that are like playable. Some of them are really fun. I actually really like Mole Man, one of the newer characters, and Winter Soldier, I might be able to make a case for him to go in the next one above. Actually, let's move Winter Soldier up here. Sort of feel like he's serving the same ideas like Hawkeye. Has some good utility with his power drain and the different shots he can fire and things like that. But this bottom tier characters, I would say, are, again, like sometimes are really fun to play, but I don't think they really bring much to the game. Like, actually, I'm going to do one more change. Let's take Elektra. Let's put her up here too. I think Elektra is okay. Again, she has one of those defensive ability accuracies, which I think is pretty good and can be helpful. And so, it's hard, this skill. I feel like there's a lot of characters who are sort of very similar. Like everyone on this third row, a lot of them just sort of give you like some little piece of utility that could be useful. The last row, though, Yeah, a lot of these characters I think are okay to play. Like I really like Mole Man. I think he's a cool new champion. I don't think he really gives you too much in this game. Maybe, and okay. As I said, this is sort of a working list. I'm gonna move him up here because I think he does have a little bit of utility with the way he can can put shocks on. He's a okay defender just because he can catch people by surprise because he shrugs off parries and if you hit him, he goes unstoppable. So that might be interesting. Okay, now I think we finally have settled on our tier list. So now we get to the bottom, and so the bottom is just all the characters that are like playable. Some of them are really fun. I actually really like Mole Man, one of the newer characters. And Winter Soldier, I might be able to make a case for him to go in the next one above. Actually, let's move Winter Soldier up here. Sort of feel like he's serving the same ideas like Hawkeye. Has some good utility with his power drain and the different shots he can fire and things like that. But this bottom tier of characters, I would say, are again like sometimes are really fun to play, but I don't think they really bring much to the game. Like, actually, I'm going to do one more change. Just take Elektra. Let's put her up here too. I think Elektra is okay. Again, she has one of those defensive ability accuracies, which I think is pretty good and can be helpful. And so, it's hard to skill. I feel like there's a lot of characters who are sort of very similar. Like everyone on this third row, a lot of them just sort of give you like some little piece of utility that could be useful. The last row, though, a lot of these characters I think are okay to play. Like I really like Mole Man. I think he's a cool new champion. I don't think he really gives you too much in this game. Maybe, and okay. As I said, this is sort of a working list. I'm gonna move him up here because I think he does have a little bit of utility with the way he can can put shocks on. He's a okay defender just because he can catch people by surprise because he shrugs off parries and if you hit him, he goes unstoppable. So that might be interesting. Okay, now I think we finally have settled on our tier list. So there's the bottom tier. Again, characters who are just pretty average, nothing too exciting about them. And so very much at the top we have Fury, Eigen, Blade, and Spider-Man, like very useful characters, a lot of places they can be used, they're really strong utility, really good damage, a lot of really good things about them. Then we sort of have our second row. Characters here tend to have something that they do exceptionally well, like either a good defender or have a really good utility that can be useful in a lot of places, or a really strong utility. The third tier tends to be characters who I think have like something interesting about them, but it's sort of not as strong as the second row. So take like Hawkeye, like Power Drain and Bleed is great, but they're really not that powerful, maybe compared to some of the abilities in the other ones, but still very usable, very probably good places for them to be used in the content. As I said, the last row is the average champions of the skill class. So there it is. There's the I wrote science up here. I've had this up here the entire time. Whoops. Okay, sorry. This was skill tier list. I was so fixated on my first video that I forgot to think about changing the title of it. So there you have it. There is the skill tier list, not the science. And I think skill is an interesting class in that it's very, very balanced. I mean, even the four top champions, I mean, they sort of stand out. They are exceptional, but I think beyond then, like the second, third, and fourth tier, I think you could do a lot of moving between these. There's not a big difference in any of them, and so I could use maybe one or two more like pretty crazy good champions, just to maybe balance it out with other classes. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this list, and I'll be back with another class tier list very soon. So thank you for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are and what you think about my rankings. So this is Enzo Eigen of the Alliance for Loki. Wishing you a good day. Bye bye.